Brett Taylor, Superalgos beta walkthrough. Install, I don't know, beginning, getting started, whatever you want to call it. Tonight, I am drinking a Tired Hands Hefeweizen, and I've got an IPA lined up here for next. It's going to be great. I'm going to assume that you may not know how to install Superalgos. I'm going to do it on my Windows computer here first, and then I'm mostly going to leave the basics of how to run the software, use it, to the tutorials that are built into the system. And then maybe in some future videos, I'll go through um, some of the beginning topics that those um, tutorials I'll deal with. But I figured this would be a nice, quick getting started. If anybody happens to jump in and wants to ask questions, may be able to answer them live here for you right now. So anyway, first thing I'm looking at here is the project page on GitHub for Superalgos. And they have a pretty good README down here, lays out how to get started. If you're not familiar with GitHub using Git, I have an editor open here called Visual Studio Code, which gives me a nice space to develop, but also have a command line. There's probably some other easier ways to get started, but this is just how I'm going to walk through this video. So first thing you want to do is make sure you have Node.js installed. I've already got it. You'll want to have the current version 16. Right now it's 16.9.1. If you're on Windows, you're going to want the Windows installer. If you're on Linux, which I will probably walk through in another session, but you will need to follow this link to the installing node via package manager. And there's some good information here about whatever version you're running. The next thing that you are going to need installed is Git itself. I, again, already have Git installed. You can grab it right here from the download page. So you can see here, I can do Git version, and I'm already got it installed. I can do the same thing. Oop, not typing. Node version. Oh, I'm on 15.8. Looks like I need to upgrade. But anyway, I'll do that another time. Next, they recommend using Google Chrome or Safari. I'm going to use Brave in this one just because I wanted to try and keep things separate from my main browser and keep it a little bit more like a sandbox, brand new installation. Try and keep anything that I may have done differently or, configured it behind the scenes, keep it out of the way so that I may run into the same issues that you will possibly. But then they tell you to go ahead and fork the project, clone your own, which I will go ahead and do. This is my page here. Let's see, Superalgos right there at the top. Go to my code button, and I want to clone, git clone, paste, boom. It takes a little bit. The code base is pretty large. I believe it takes up more than a gig of space. While that's going on, the next thing that I always do is I like to set the main project up as being my upstream. So I'm going to copy the code repo for the main project. Man, this is slow. All right, there we go. So now I can go into that. If I type git remote -v. Oh, I already have it set up. That's interesting. Oh, maybe it carried over from an old installation or something. I think I might be reusing a directory. Anyway, once we are in our main directory, I'm going to keep it on the master branch for this. So we can type node setup. And I like to do no shortcuts. There's a couple of other switches. I believe the only other one is to install TensorFlow or not. I'm not going to walk through TensorFlow on this, so I'm not going to worry about it for right now. And you can see I'll make this a little bit bigger. It goes through and installs a bunch of node dependencies. So this is a Node.js project. Cool. And then here, you can set up TensorFlow if you want. I do the no shortcuts. And keep going down, and now you can type node platform to get it going. Boom. So it automatically opens up the browser for you. You can see we're running localhost 34248 for the port. And it takes a little bit of time to get everything set up. And you get started with the welcome tutorial. I'm gonna skip that for right now. I guess one of the things I'm going to walk through first is just doing a simple modification of the training system, the strategy that is default that comes with the getting started guide called Lightning Strike. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this getting started tutorials to just going to call it streaming 1 because I am sitting here streaming this right now. So now that that's renamed, Control Shift Save, and now I'm going to reload. And what I did was basically just clone that workspace into a brand new workspace. And I'm reloading just to make sure that I'm on that new workspace. Again, takes a little bit to load. Definitely could use some extra developer help to work out these UI issues. Let's see, we can scroll down here in the workspaces and you see how I have one that's purple and it's the streaming 1. So this is my brand new local workspace. So from here, I like to do a little bit of cleanup. We don't really need these, but as you hover over these nodes, you can then delete. And why not just get rid of some of the stuff that we don't need in here. I'm going to clone this lightning strike system. And then I am going to copy it back in here. And let's just call it lightning strike mod. So then I have to go up to plugins. Let's expand this, and you can see I have the master's lightning strike. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. That's the reference to the plugin itself. Which will get rid of that. And then let's just move this right back there. So you can see I have two different data mines, the master's data mine, the candles data mine. And then some of these other references are just to make sure that we have things like the trading space, and most of our data will come from the trading engine, um, as well as the trading mine and the data mines. The other thing that we may want to set up real quick is turn this Binance into Binance US, because I am here in the US and I have to use Binance US. You can see as soon as I changed the code name under the configure tab, it picked up a brand new icon, and it now is the Binance US. That's all that I need to edit in here for right now. Eventually, if we're going to do a live trading session, we'll need to update this key. But for right now, not going to worry about it. One thing I will do, and actually I will save right now, and since I replaced the plugin trading system, I'm going to refresh. Oop, all kinds of buttons in Brave. I'm not used to running Brave yet. So here we are, we're back. Got our lightning strike mod, but under our network node, it still has the reference to the old lightning strike. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uninstall the market. Takes a couple of seconds. Now it's done, and I'm going to reinstall the market. And what that does is refreshes the links between the trading sessions and the trading system, essentially. And then we can expand out here. I'm going to go ahead and set these values while I'm looking at this. I'll leave the minimum to 0 and the starting is 0. That's going to be the BTC side of our BTC USDT market. And I'm going to start this at, let's just say 1,000. Time range, I'm going to change to, let's just do the beginning of the month here. 2021-09-01, 2021-09-02. Time frame needs to be in the 1 minute. And everything else we should be okay with. So now we need to get some data. And I'm going to modify this as well so I don't pull too much data. Let's just go back to the beginning of the year. So now start all the data tasks. Excuse me. And there we go. We are getting data. So this is going to take, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes for all the data to pull down and for all the indicators to calculate their data. So that's the perfect time to pull out my double dry hopped Alien Church IPA. That is good. Um, so I guess I didn't really introduce myself in terms of how I found this project, why I started running it. Um, I'm a SRE, site reliability engineer by trade. I love having little side projects. Hardware is always fun for me to play around with, so I had been running a little Raspberry Pi or Odroid um, Kubernetes cluster in my basement, and I was looking for something new to do with it. Um, One day, I can't remember where exactly, but I saw a post for how to run this trading bot, crypto trading bot on a Raspberry Pi. And I was like, oh, that sounds perfect. I didn't really know anything about trading Forex or crypto, anything like that. Stocks, I never really even got into that too much, but I thought, you know what, this would be pretty cool. I've always found crypto to be interesting, but never really got too into it. I did mine Dogecoin for a couple of months back in 2014 or something like that, but never really invested in it um, until about last year. Started learning a little bit more. Started learning what all these different indicators meant, what other strategies there are out there, and it's just been kind of interesting. Nice little side project. I kind of feel like I don't know, just getting into something new and something that other people around me have always done. Like, know people that work in finance and trading, but never really understood what they did all day. So it's kind of interesting to me. So now we wait. Glad I didn't pull down all of last year's data as well. Um, and this is on a somewhat powerful PC. Um, Relatively new build. I think I made this PC, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. Wasn't super top of the line, but good enough for gaming. Just to give you an idea of what type of processing power you may need. These indicators should calculate pretty quickly. Um, Binance US is definitely the most tested, or Binance is the most tested exchange. Um, I have tested out Coinbase Pro and Kraken a little bit. Coinbase Pro, each of them has the pros and cons. Um, Coinbase Pro has a couple of things about it that it doesn't keep all the trade history, um, but seems to work pretty well. Kraken, the biggest drawback is that they don't provide a lot of um, just market data history. So these OH LCVs only go back like 12 hours. So if you want to have historical data, you essentially need to keep something running, pulling data constantly. But Binance has a pretty extensive history, and is relatively quick to pull it. So they don't have too many API restrictions. You can see some of these other processes kicking off now because the candles have been calculated. And now the dailies. And this is definitely one of the longest parts of working with the system. The other parts are the back testing, and it's really dependent on what your time frame is and what um, uh, totally blanking. What time range and what time frame? That's what I was trying to think of. you're using. Um, so if you're running a system that really only depends on hourly candles, it's obviously going in a back test, it's going to perform a little bit quicker just because there's less data points to go through and test to see if it's actually making a trade or what. So I'm just waiting for these other processes to get up to 100%. And then I will kick off a default trading system backtest just to see what happens. And then I'll walk you through modifying it and continuing to run backtests. There we go. Fully up to date. Nope, this one's still running. And the resistances and supports are what we need for this trading system, so we really need this one to be up to date. Well, I guess it really only runs with the minute. It doesn't do anything with hours or days. Anyway, let's give it a try. So we come back over our task, start it, and then kick it off. While that's starting, oh, I want our lightning back testing. So turn on our candles. Where am I looking for? First. And we're going to want to be in at the 1 minute. There we go. Going to need our resistances and supports turned on. Going to turn off those little data overlays. Let's see, we'll want our limit buy orders, limit sell orders turned on. And everything is basically immediately turn on, immediately buy, immediately sell. So I'm going to leave those layers off. But then I like to get some information about how many trades we made, what my balance is, what my ROI is. So I turn on these trading engine layers as well. And let's see what that does for right now. Let's see. What happened? Still waiting. Man, these are kind of slow. So what else? While this is happening, what other types of things can you do? Let's see. The other thing I guess we can talk about while we're waiting that you may want to do is explore all these data mines. If you are seasoned trader and you may want some other indicators, things like that, you can come in here, expand plugins, expand new plugin data mines, and then click on the add missing data mines, and you'll see that there's a bunch to pull from. I don't know too much about it. Many of them, I know a little bit about some of them. And a lot of these were recently just moved around to a whole bunch of kind of, I guess, more logical space so that they fit into these folders a little bit better, in terms of being grouped with other similar indicators. Maybe we'll explore some of these in a different video, but if you are looking for them, there they are. And like I said, I haven't really gotten through too many of these. I know that the MACD and the EMAs are in the Sparta plugin, and all the Ichimoku, which I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, um, they're in the Zeus plugins. Those are really the only ones that I've kind of played with. Oh, and the Bollinger Bands. I've played with those. Bollinger. Always wanted to know how to properly pronounce that as well. So if anybody has some tips, send them on over. But for now, I'm just going to remove those because I'm not using them. And let's go check out our data. Oh, good. We're all up to date. We can stop this. And we can see that our testing is finished. So let's see what we did. All right. Lots and lots of buy attempts and only one sell attempt. Zoom in here a little more. And you can see we made 0.1% ROI. Nice. All right. So usually, let's see, all the fun stuff happens here in this open stage with the limit buy, because these all for trigger are basically true, false, just saying immediately turn on, immediately take your position. So we can play around with the trigger stage a little bit in another video. But let's do this for right now. Let's just change this to 1. So the support 1 rate. And our cancel order, we are going to edit it so that it doesn't immediately close and try and place another order. So what I want are the limit buy order number 1, period. Copy the node. Let's go back. And let's say if it's greater than or equal to 5. So we'll let that. Let's see what that does. And run. And since we're only trading 1 day, runs pretty quick. So what did we do? Oh, look, we had several more buys. And many more. Oh, let's go back a little bit here. Seems a little bit strange that we're missing a bunch of dates in here. What am I looking for? Got my errors turned on. Warnings. That's what I was looking for. Wonder why this. That's pretty cool. Actual rate too high. Hmm. Interesting. All right, I've never seen those before. Well, sorry. I've never seen the rate be too high. And that needs to be spell checked. If anybody wants to make their first contribution to the project, there you go. So, I wonder why our cell didn't get placed for so long. It's very strange. But when it eventually did, it was right at the end here. And that's strange. Our ROI is negative 99%. Oh, sorry. That's the episode. I don't fully understand those numbers. Still got more learning to do. Anyway, but the ROI of our trading episode is 0.14% towards the end here. Let's see what it is right before this buy happens. Yeah, 0.08. So still not too good. That's interesting that it's opening and closing still right away. I thought oh no, okay. It's waiting 5 periods and then closing. Alrighty. So, I guess the next step, something else we can do. On the sell side, well, I guess I might as well go in here. Let's set this to 2. And on the sell side, we've got this race to break even where it's doing a very quick sell off. And you can see in areas like this, we were to wait a little bit longer, we might actually get a little bit more profit. Obviously, that could come back and bite us in the butt in times when the market is actually going down. But as you can see here, eventually, a lot of times the market does come back up. Sometimes it might be days, weeks, months, years, but generally seems like the market eventually comes back up. So let's do something similar where instead of waiting, oh, this is waiting 2, let's wait 10. So since we're working in the 1 minute range, that'll actually be 10 minutes. So let's edit all of these. This is a little bit tedious. It's not too bad. The graphical programming you may or may not be a big fan of. It does make it kind of interesting, made it easier for me to learn about what's going on. I didn't really understand all the terms because I wasn't a trader. So, help me figure out following these gray lines and such. You can see this on the screen. I can't really move my mouse, otherwise it'll go away. Following these lines to show you what things are linked to, what they're referencing, just kind of help me just find my way around, figure out what each of these meant. So anyway, we've got all of this set to 10 minutes. I'm going to make my open 10 minutes also. And did I edit it to be the 2? I think I did. Yeah, support to rate. All right, let's give that a try. See what happens. So start the task, then start the session. And I feel like beer may not be the best if I'm going to be sitting here talking the entire night, especially not in an IPA. Seems to be drying my mouth out quite a bit. Anyway, trading session done. So here you can see, zoom out a little bit. We have a couple of these make a win, but yep, that one kind of hit. This one, I believe, went all the way down. This one went all the way down. These probably went all the way down. And that one. And then we got here as well. Oh, is that the end of the session? Yeah, that's the second. All right, so how do we do? ROI 0.9. Hey, a little bit better. Wow, Brave really likes to advertise a lot. I guess that's kind of the whole point, isn't it? Anyway, so I'm not really a big fan of this step down, race to break even strategy for the sell side. So let's do something similar to that we do on the buy side. Let's just set each of these. I believe they're just set up for just a percentage up. Yeah, exit target rate value times 0.008. Let's go back up here. And this one is our chart at 1 minute support rate 2. Let's go back down here and we'll set this to resistance. Let's make this resistance 5 rate. And how I kind of came up with that is this in masters? No. Simulation data? No. Maybe it's masters. There it is. So the supports. So you can see we have support levels window, and man, this is really struggling to move right now. Let's get rid of some of these others. I don't need counters. I do want the statistics, and I'll get rid of balances for right now. And what else do I have here? I don't need episodes. But this is still Dragon. All right. So you can see as I'm scrubbing over the graph here, the chart and the support levels in this overlay here. You can get an idea of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I believe these are calculated out to, can't remember exactly now. I want to say that they have them calculated out to 10. I'll have to look that up again. 10 different levels, rates. And you should be able to just type in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If they're there, you'll get an error, obviously, if they're not. But at least you can see in the chart here, we have 1 through 5 shown on the chart. 5 being the furthest above. Right? Am I getting that right? I believe so. Yeah. No. Sorry. What am I looking at here? I am totally blanking on this. And you can see now why I am such a novice. Duh. Supports are underneath. Resistances are above. Of course. Man, I'm confusing myself. That or I'm way too drunk. We just changed this to resistances. We copied the supports out of the order rate. That's why I got so confused with myself. Anyway, so we want to be looking at the resistances. So we have 5 levels shown on the chart. 5 is the highest, furthest away from the actual candles. So I'm playing it safe right now. And oh, I did pick 5. We'll just see what happens. So how about instead of stepping down percentages, looking at order rate, we copy this. Let's go 5, and then 4, and then let's make it 3. Let's make that 2. And I'll make this 1. And I have 1 left over. I don't feel like doing anything too fancy yet, so I'm just going to make this a 1 as well. And then what was this one? 002. I'm going to make this a 1 as well. Then let it sit. See what we do. And we're done. And we got a couple of warnings. Those are typically normal. Just giving you some information that the data, the targets that you're trying to hit the trading system and the actual system, the actual exchange, were slightly different. So it's just showing you that it recalculated some of the things. The warnings are generally more informational and will give you things like, I don't know, if you're trying to place an order with 0 as the amount, or whoops, I'm zooming out and zooming in all over the place here. What was I doing? I was turning off these warnings and excuse me, and the errors. So they're not really doing a whole lot for me right now. I can turn these off. All right. So we get to the end here, and oops, ROI negative 0.66. Well, at least in this time range of the first, we can see that generally the market was going up. So if we had just held our initial position a little bit longer, we may have made a little bit more profit. At the same time, on the buy side, it looks like we could have done a little bit better with some of our buys. So maybe if we try support level 3 and let it sit and wait a little bit longer, we can catch one of these dips. And we'll also let our sell side stay open a little bit longer. So let's see, since we're talking about minutes, let's do, I don't know, let's stay open for an hour, 60 minutes. And we'll make this support rate 3. And then on the sell side, got 5 there to start. Let's do the same thing. Let's stay open for an hour. Let's see what happens. So we'll edit all of these to close after an hour. Then you may be saying to yourself, hey, if we're letting these trades, these limit buys and limit sells, stay open for an hour, why don't we just run the whole trading system at the 1 hour time range? That's a pretty good question. We could definitely do that. Oh, this one I didn't. That one I didn't even edit. All right, let's change it to 60. And anyway, back to the question: why don't we just change it to run in the hour time frame? It's a very good question, and it may actually help optimize it a little bit more. So you may not be so CPU intense all the time if you aren't necessarily needing to look at the 1 minute market every single minute. So there's our 1 day. And you can see we did many fewer trades this time. Let's go in the middle here. But you can see we're up 0.58 for one day, which isn't too shabby on our 1,000 bucks that we started with. There comes our current balance window. Hey, we made, almost $6 today. And this does take into effect the fees. So I believe the 0.1 maker taker fees here are what Binance starts you with on their lowest tier. Other exchanges are different, obviously. Coinbase Pro, I think they're around 0.5% for maker taker on their lowest tier. And Kraken, what have I wrote? I think they're like 0.16 and 0.26. So again, trade-offs between the different exchanges. In the US, a lot of people are a little wary of keeping their money in China, and so that might be a reason to take Coinbase or Kraken. I'm not sure what's more popular in other parts of the world other than Binance. Seems like most people running the project already have Binance accounts or don't have any to um, political or other averse cities to opening an account with Binance. Some exchanges have been in talks with the main developers. Of course, my ears starting to itch. About making deals where people running Superalgos, this piece of software, may get a little bit of discount on their fees. So keep an eye out for those if you see them. Obviously, make sure it's coming directly from the Superalgos project team and not some scammer trying to just take your money, some random dude or bot. Anyway, I think that might be it for the night. I don't really have too much else to go over. Hopefully, you got a pretty good idea of how to quickly test and modify a strategy. Keep an eye out for whether it's making you money or not, and how to get the software up and running. If you have any questions or things that you would specifically like me to try and touch on next time, definitely reach out. Check out the official Superalgos Discord and the Telegram. Generally hang out there. Um, Always posting questions of my own, things that I run into, and I try to help others out with their questions, things that I've learned along the way, and that's what I hope to do with these videos as well. So check me out. I'll try and keep this going next week. So see you next Wednesday around 9 o'clock, and good luck.